Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, chefs out there. Vandaag ke le tshwaretse recipe engwe entswembu blind. If you're like me and you're a fan of spiritual piano, today's episode speaks directly to you. I'm giving you the ingredients to create what is a magical piano song that connects you to the ancestors, that connects you to your spirituality. We're getting the recipe from the one, the only, Idlozi Lami Hitmaker, Phila Dlozi.
Yes, sir.
Hi. I'm good. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. I think we're going to have a very interesting episode. We're going to go into your family, your siblings, your journey, how you ended up in piano and how that's been for you so far. But of course, we need to loosen the bones, loosen the muscles with a bit of an icebreaker. And I want to put you on the spot. We have a drum here.
Yeah.
And I know you specialize when it comes to African percussion. Djembe drums are your thing.
Yeah.
Can you give us a freestyle, something that comes to you, Nje? Give us any type of melody, any type of beat.
Okay. Well, that's a challenging one, but. Indlela ohamba ngayo, 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 indlela ohamba ngayo. Uboqaphela oh, uboqaphela oh, uboqaphela oh, indlela ohamba ngayo.
That was too much. That was too much. Ladies and gentlemen. Aye, but you got it. You killed it. It was too much. So as part of that, we've prepared a meal for you to celebrate what your sound is rooted in, to celebrate the African identity and according to your preferences. It's a meal that tells the story of what it means to grow up African. Typical meal that you're having on a Sunday. We are today eating uphutu, roast veggies, and a lamb stew with machio.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Let them bring it through.
Thank you so much. I love food.
I love food too. And we're going to speak about it all. Your food journey, your quinto.
This looks amazing, man.
I hope it tastes good too.
Yeah.
Please let me know if you need
Looks
salt
tasty.
or anything, or make sure that
No, I trust
you're
the
sorted.
person
You're
who
sorted.
cooked. Nice.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Define for me who Phila Dlozi is.
Okay. Phila Dlozi is just a young man coming from KZN. There's a town called Richards Bay. That's where I come from. But just outside Richards Bay, there's a small village called Kwasokulu. So that's where I was born and raised by my beautiful parents, Omabama by two, and my dad, together with my siblings. So ngafunda amabanga aphansi ezemfundo khona emakhaya esikoleni esibizwa ngokuthi Sokulu Primary School, and then from there I went to Langalibomvu Primary School, high school, until grade 10. So from grade 10 I had to relocate, because I was trying to find my way in the music space. I was trying to learn as much as I can. So there's a school in Durban that focuses more in the talent aspect. So I went and auditioned for Joyous Celebration. Then I was able to work with them for a short while. Yeah, I didn't stay long, and I had to find my way, to do me, and I was studying at Umlazi High School, beautiful school, and I did my thing at school until I was in a group called Brothers Musical Group. We're doing gospel a cappella. So it was just 14 young boys singing. It was beautiful, man. It was a good experience, but obviously I grew too quickly and I was too ambitious, and I felt like they were holding me back, so I had to leave them and
Go on a different path.
yeah, find my way, and later that time I dropped out at school. I had passed for matric, but just didn't write the last paper. Decided that I'm dropping out, and then I went and started street basking, singing on the street. So because I'm dropping out of school, my parents, they heard that I dropped out. Class teacher told them, yo.
I want to actually jump in here, Phila, before we get to basking, leaving the home, and what that meant for your parents. And just take a step back, and I want you to walk us through the family dynamic growing up. Because you say you have two mothers. Nah? Some people are like, Aibo. So how was that for you? Because I'm assuming it was like a polygamous marriage on your dad's part. How many siblings do you have, and how was it growing up in a household with two matriarchs?
So my dad is married to two mothers, and the family is 21 siblings.
Okay.
And the other two is, in our culture, we don't believe that kuney'ngane zangaphandle. Yonke ingane yasegcekeni ukuthi ayizalelwanga emshadweni, that doesn't concern us. Sikwazi ukuthi ingane zala ekhaya ezikababa. So we are 21, including those two girls from another mother, not inside the marriage. It was really beautiful, man. I don't want to lie to you. A lot of polygamous setups. You tend to find, that probably the mothers are fighting, they don't get along, or the siblings, they don't get along at all. But with us, I think a role that my dad played was to make sure that no one comes between us. You know, even when they are fighting, they are having their fight and arguments, they make sure that they hide it from us and we don't get involved. You know, so they protected us from those things, you know, because those things, they were going to make us take sides without, you know. So it was beautiful in that way, and till today with my siblings, we love each other, you know. You won't say that sizala womama bahlukene, it's indawonye. You know, like my younger brother omncane kunami uzalwa omunye mama. You know, when he's here, when he visits me here in Joburg, he's my younger brother. I don't even mention that akazalwa umama, you know, because that's the bond we have. You know, we love each other in that way. He's my responsibility when he's here. Actually, everyone is my responsibility when they get here, you know. All my siblings, you know, that are my age. So it was beautiful, man. There's Lima. Mina ke nje ngikhuliswe ama veggie yonke into bese ngayithengi into veg. The only thing we're buying is meat and some of the starch, you know. But ama veggie, ubisi lwenkomo, you know, amasi, we didn't buy amasi, besenge egcekeni, you know, all those things. It was beautiful. My dad was strict as hell. Strict, you know. Mawuvuka ekuseni, if we're not going to school, uvuka ekuseni sihamba siya emasimini, wonke umuntu ayeke umuntu osala egcekeni. You know, everyone leaves the house, we go to the fields, we work the fields, we come back, we eat what we work. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Please feel free to eat. Yeah, dive in.
Let's go.
I actually did want to speak on those dynamics and those relationships that you end up forming with your siblings. In such a big household, I can imagine kunzimanyana to become close, right? And to form very strong bonds, and to have someone you can confide in, or to know everyone in the same way. So did you find that you ended up sort of choosing your siblings and then they were your close ones and then you loved the rest, or everyone is equally close because when you guys were working, ben sebenza nonke?
I would say that I'm equally close to all my siblings, you know, because I might not be talking to them every day, but, well, let me just say this. There's one person that I talk to every day, you know, and that's my brother Senzo. You know, he's older than me. He's also into music, you know. So we talk every day, you know, and when I have a problem, that's one person I confide, you know, Guyana. But I confide pretty much go wonke umuntu egcekeni, you know. But sometimes kune ikhathi la I don't want to tell them everything because I want to be my own man, you know. When I tell people certain things, it feels like maybe I'm asking permission to grow up from them, you know. I always believe that I have to make my own mistakes so that I can learn how to get out of those situations in the future if I find myself in those, you know. And sometimes big bros would love to play a big bro place and prevent you from making that mistake, of which I understand. But how am I going to teach my kid, if I have a kid in the future, how am I going to teach them about maneuvering the situation when they find themselves in in those situations? Because I don't know, I never went through those situations, and I wouldn't know how to get out of them. So even when I came here to Joburg, our big brother, he stays here in Joburg, and bese neminyaka Elijah's mangifika mina, you know, like he had over 10 years, you know, Elijah's. But because I'm a person who believes in, you know, building their own life by themselves, I didn't tell him that I was coming to Joburg. You know, I was in Joburg for months until we met. And it's not that I called him or he called me. He found me doing my thing on the street, you know, where he does his shopping with his wife. And that's how we met, you know. And from there, he offered me a place to stay, you know. And there's a lot of things that I could have, you know, went through without him. But I appreciate the fact that he took me in and protected me from those things, even though I still feel like I should have went through those things so that I can learn, you know. So yeah, pretty much close to all my siblings, my sisters, my bros, you know. Yeah.
I think that's interesting, and that's not a dynamic that many people have. But at which point does music enter? Because now need 20, right? Are you guys singing on Sunday, or when you're out in the fields, nyakula, or when do you start saying, okay, this music thing is a calling? At which point do you do that? Is it a family thing or what?
I wouldn't say it. I would say it's a family thing because my mom can sing. You know, she has a beautiful voice, but she never pursued music well. Pursue music as a career back then. It uyahlanya. You know, uyahlanya. Wakwambona apha umculo onenkomo, umculo nomuzi. Yabo yonke leyo nto leyo. So she never really pursued music. She just grew up. At 17, she went and got married to my dad. And ever since, they've been together. So singing, actually, I saw it from my brother when I was telling you about Senzo. Because he's older than me. He started as a rapper. Yeah, from being a rapper, he went and became a poet.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, he was really active. And then after that, he did house plans for a living. And now he's coming back to music full time. Yeah. He's really good. He's really good. So, yonke lento yomculo ngibona kuyena when he was moving with his scheme. You know, his boys, abo Steezy, Mjuta Kumalo, abo DJ Sky. Yeah.
Izinto zabo vele.
Izinto zabo bengazinix mina bengidlalela ibhola ngathi. Yeah. Bengidlalela ibhola ngilusela inkomo ngingazilutho ukuthi kwenzalanga. But every one of them knew that I have a voice, because everywhere I go I sing, bro. You know, I sing everywhere I go, to a point where there's sports ebeng nokwa joyina, and the only part I enjoyed was when we were singing, you know, Igwicho. Yeah. That was my favorite part.
What's your favorite Gwicho number?
Okay. Currently, it's a Sasa ndiyahamba athandwe sizawufonelana. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song. You know, it's so beautiful. You know, I'm seeing all these kids are making careers out of Gwicho singing. Back then, it was not a thing. You know, it was just a thing. Esiyenza masijabulele sindawonye sibaningi. You know, that thing that gives you, you know, umfuto when you're about to go on a game, you know. But now it's a career. I see niggas like at it
and making money.
They're making money. It's beautiful, man.
100%. Before we move on from this family dynamic and growing up and what that was like for you, I want to chat a little bit about your own views on polygamy. Is it something that you see in your own life? Is it something that you are happy to have seeing from your parents, but you don't want it for yourself?
I'm happy seeing it from my parents. I'm from it. I know the goods, I know the bads. You know, it wasn't a perfect family. You know, the things that they protected us from, some of us could see them, just decided not to, you know, jump into that, you know. But it's not my thing. I don't like it. I don't.
I see. Because
I think that man.
Yeah, I think there's some people who are wondering, and like, what is it like? Because we see it on TV, and obviously TV is not always accurate, doesn't give us the full picture. But you lived it. There was no cameras. It was your life, your home life. So what are those bads that you were being protected from, but you still were exposed to inevitably?
Well, it's a normal family fights, bro. You know, no matter abantu besifazane are jealous beings natural. Actually, not just abantu besifazane, wonke umuntu wesilisa. There's no woman who wants to share a man with another woman. As much as you can agree on that fact, but at the end of the day, reality is going to kick in. You know, if I decide that I'm going to Umamhlong and she was expecting me, then there's going to be a fight. Uthi, why we are Mamhlongo? Because mina expect to go to Zagim. You know, it's that thing. But those are not the fights, you know, we're experiencing. It's things like I don't know. But it's just your typical marriage things, you know. Tina, there's no way we were going to understand it because we were kids and we're not married. We don't understand marriage, you know, couple fights. So it was those things, you know, which they protected us from. Even when they were fighting, they never wanted us to know that they are fighting. You know, when we are together, they are good friends. They are talking. Everywhere they go together. You know, so that unity we saw is the one that we took and ran with it. You know, so as much look about the fights and the problems, the mshado, the polygamy. I won't say I have a specific thing I can state. This was our biggest thing, you know, because as I say, they protected us from those things. They made sure that we don't see those things and we never experience those things. Yeah. It was cool.
It was nice. It was shielded. It was a happy home.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And where do you fall? Are you like, in terms of birth order, are you towards the end? Are you one of the early kids?
On my mom's side, I'm a last born.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're not the last born?
I'm not the last born. I think I'm the fourth or fifth. Yeah.
Okay, so Upilo Yakula, he joins an a cappella group. Yeah, gospel.
Yeah.
How does that come about?
Angikhuliswanga ekhasi ngamaNazaretha. Uyayazi ngithi lokhuzana inkolo yakwaShembe. Yeah. Sikhonza kwaShembe ekhaya. So because the only reason I don't wanna sound bad, but the only reason that made me visit Christian churches was music. I loved music. I loved performing. I would do anything just to be able to perform. So it was the only thing that was here in my eyes, you know, something that I could use to exercise my talent, you know. So, and I said, why not? Let me do it. You know, it's not like I'm a preacher by singing gospel music. I'm not a preacher. I'm just singing music, you know. And at the end of the day, we're praising God. You know, we're praising God. So that's how I became a gospel singer. Yeah. It was just purely the love of music.
Yeah, and then that drew you in.
Yeah.
But then it couldn't get you to stay.
It couldn't. It couldn't because I always had bigger dreams than you know some of my peers, you know, and being in those spaces, it was exciting and beautiful, but over time I felt trapped you know, because I wanted more. You know, I wanted to be named with the best musicians of the country. You know, and I couldn't do that with them. You know, it just didn't work out. You know, and they were young boys. Me mentally, I was very old. You know, I was way ahead. So I had to leave them. You know, because when you work with boys, not just boys, a group of people, you always have to follow certain people around. You know, you like remind people of their like duties. You know, so I was not prepared to do that. You know, I wanted to only answer to myself. Yeah.
So how old are you roughly around this time?
I was 18, 19, somewhere there. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a perfect sort of leaping off point for us to discuss in a bit more depth how then you get into piano, your journey in Joburg, which we're going to do. We're just going to take a quick 5-minute break and then we're going to come back, reconvene and chat Joburg. And
This is beautiful.
is it good?
This is
I'm
nice.
happy. I am happy. You heard, guys, I can cook.
This is
Danko.
nice, man.
And we are back. You guys didn't see, but Phila said I cook better than him off camera. So, Phila,
Yeah.
uphutu lapho.
Eish. This is my favorite dog. Amahewu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've always liked Maphorisa.
Banana flavored. Beautiful. Beautiful.
You've always liked Maphorisa.
I have a history with Mahewu, you know, but not the professional Mahewu.
Okay.
I have like our traditional Mahewu. So when I was growing up, we were still staying at my grandma's house with my mom. So because she couldn't afford ubis, so they were making me a Mahewu ngelokhuzana milimili. So bengenzela Mahewu afaka 5 liter. That 5 liter lasts me a week, and every Friday they need to make a new 5 liter. So if I sense ukuthi there's a problem, Amahewu awekho, my guy, no one will sleep. No one will sleep. I would want them right here. And whoever that is with me will have to wake up and cook it and cool it down, put it on a mug for me so that I can drink and sleep. So this reminds me, you know, of those times.
Yeah. That's what we seek to do, you know, remind people of their childhood. So let's go to adolescence. You're 18, 19. You've said this last paper, matric, I'm Bali. I'm dropping out now. I'm focusing purely on music. So when you drop out, can you walk us through that? Did you just one day said I'm not going to school? Or the day you drop out is the day you leave and it's the day you get to Joburg?
So the day I drop out, I had already started skipping classes, you know. So ngihlala duze in a train station. So what we used to do is, there's two boys I used to work with. They are poets. Sibonile Ngwazi and Nqanawe Yangempela. Nqanawe Yangempela is nominated for, I think, Best Traditional Praise Singer on the Satma Awards. So we're working with them. They are poets, I'm a singer. So sometimes I'll skip a Thursday or I'll skip Friday. I'm going to the train and I only buy a ticket for R7.50 and going to town, Durban town. I buy it. That ticket is going to last me the whole day. I'm gonna use that ticket the whole day. You know, to hustle. So as people are boarding the train coaches, we're just waiting for them there. We see which coach has a lot of people, then we jump in that coach, and I start singing, and next minute the poet is coming in with his poetry, you know, and then we do that coach to coach. Maybe each coach we come out with $50, you know, and we just do that the whole day. And then when you go home later on, you count your coins. You've got 300, 350, 320, you know, that's enough for a week, you know. So I had already started doing those things, you know, before I even dropped out of school, you know. So the day I dropped out, I already knew the plan in my head. I already knew where I'm going, what I'm doing. So I dropped out of school, and that's when I started doing this thing, you know, every day, you know, in the trains. And because I'm dropping out of school, at home they cut off my allowance. Because, like, come on, we're giving you this money because you're going to school. You're not going to school anymore. There's no need for us to give you this money. They took it back, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm already making 300 and something a day from trains. I can sustain myself. Kanti ngiyazikhohlisa.
Sure.
And ngiyazikhohlisa, I lost my check because I couldn't keep up with rent. I lost my check eMlazi kwa V. And after that, I met this old man, Bria train station, in Durban. I met this old man. He sells fruits outside the train station, you know, and he offered me a job. You know, he offered me a job. I was cleaning his fruits every now and then, pour them with water, you know, hydrate them. One day he just came. When I was coming to work, I see a small djembe there in front of his table. And I asked him, and then, whose drum is this? And he said, I don't know. Take it, see what you do with it. I took it, I played a few beats, made sense, and next thing, words are coming out of my mouth, and people start coming, throwing coins in front of me. Next thing, in less than 4 minutes, I'd made like 50-something rands, you know. And I looked at him and he said, now you know what to do. You know where you have to go, what you need to do. I took that drum. I started singing then every day on the like different hotspots of Durban. And yeah, did that for a couple of months. And then November 28, my sister was getting married. Not married, man. So I had to go home. hustled money, I went back home, and kwenzeka umcimbi kwaba kuhle wonke umuntu wajabula. Mind you, it's November, everyone is expected to come home, you know, because we're approaching December holidays. So on Sunday after the ceremony, Imilo making a plan to go back to Durban. I don't want to stay here though.
Yeah.
ngayithola inyuku ngahamba ngayohayika elokuzaneni empangeni, gibela ama-truck ngayikhomba eThekwini. Mangifika eThekwini, I started busking again, you know, and then I'm busking at Gateway Mall, Mhlanga. There's this young man, he's working at CCI, at some call center. He comes a mall, he was taking lunch, and he sees me singing. He comes and listens. He goes. Later on, I'm still there. He comes back. Now he's coming back with his brother now. They sit there, they listen. After I'm done, they come to me. They say, man, we love what you're doing. We love what you're doing, but we feel like Durban is not the right place for what you're doing. You know, we feel like Joburg can make you a different person. You know, you can get what you are looking for, and you can make more money. I was like, I don't know these boys, mind you, but for some reasons I just trusted them. You know, first time meeting these people, they say, let's take you to Joburg. I was like, okay. That very same day, the money I made, we bought bus tickets, we traveled at night. The next morning, we were in Joburg, in Maboneng. Yeah.
And then you just arrived Joburg, no nothing, just you and the gym. So there's a lot of different type of music that exists out there, and there's a lot of different types of singing that exist. But your singing is connected to the spiritual realm. How does that come about? Is it because when as a person you're gifted and you can communicate with the ancestors, and when you sing they speak through you, or how does that relationship and that dynamic happen?
Well, I always had a gift, you know, even since when I was a kid. I always had a gift, you know, of sensing a lot of things, seeing, you know, a lot of spiritual, you know, troubles and problems. And what I feel like one of the reasons that were driving me away from home was the fact that I could see a lot, you know, and I'm a kid. I can't really tell my parents that, yo, there's something like this happening, you know, there's something like this happening. I see this and this and this and this. You know, they're not gonna believe me. I'm a kid. What do I know? You know. So I just decided, but you know what, I'm just gonna do my thing. Every little chance I get to be away from home, I'm gonna use it. You know, because even when I was still at home, I was very like active in sports. You know, I was doing sports that always take me away. You know, sports that always take me away. I used to play netball, by the way. Yeah. Netball males. It was beautiful. Best time of my life. So if every little chance I could get to be away from home, I would use it.
What are the kinds of things you're seeing though, Phila?
You know, some things it's not things we can talk about in the public, you know. Wonke umuzi unemfihlo zawo. You know, especially emakhaya. You know, wathola ukuthi umnikazi walo wamuzi umkhulu ozala ubaba, for instance, I'm just making an example, bekathwele, you know, and makathwele uthwele ngezilwane zonke lezi zinto besiqitshwa la egcekeni, you know, ukuthi abe nenkomo eningi, you know, ukuthi ahlonishwe endaweni, yabo. Maybe it's those kind of things, you know. And you know, sometimes ingxabano yabazali becomes a huge thing egcekeni. Ukuxabana kwabazali can affect ingane egcekeni, not, it can affect ingane spiritually. You know, it can affect ingane spiritual. So a lot of spiritual things I could see, but I couldn't understand them, and I was afraid to talk about them, you know, to tell my parents about those things because they wouldn't believe me. You know, it's dreams, it's visions, you know, it's prophecies, you know, all those things all together. I'm just a young boy who doesn't know anything, who just wants to sing, you know. Then later on I discovered that when I sing, I get to a point where I transition, you know, to the spiritual Phila Dlozi, you know, where I'm able to communicate with God directly, where I'm able to communicate with my ancestors, where I'm able to communicate with, you know, my guiding angels, you know, the ones that when I'm looking this way, they turn my head and they make me look, you know, in this direction so that I can see what's in front of me, you know. So then my singing became very different because I'm used to gospel, you know, all those things, house music. But then it just changed, you know. It just changed, and the more and more I did this music, this kind of singing, the more I felt, you know, power, like touching my soul, like touching my life. I felt so much power working, you know, ngempilo yami.
Yeah.
To a point where people start confessing stuff when I sing, you know. Yesterday I was performing in Auckland Park, and I met this man. He's going through a lot, and is busy saying, "Yo, man, I love your music. Your music makes me connect with my ancestors. You know, you're saving a lot of lives." And I was like, I'm gonna share a story that I never share. He's the second person, if not the third person, I've shared this story to. When I was basking in Joburg, I think it was 2020, and I was basking outside the Hollard building, outside Food Lovers. And as I was singing, and then during lunch, here comes this woman. She buys a lunch from Food Lovers, and she comes and sit down, you know, front opposite me, and she eats. You know, I sing. It's time for her to go back to work. Lunch is over. She doesn't. She just stays there, you know, and I don't notice that she's crying. And I started noticing, this person is crying, you know, and she doesn't stop. She doesn't stop until around about 3. I stopped singing. I went to her, just trying to find out what's going on, you know, trying to comfort her. Then she told me a story that, you just saved my life. Today, after work, that's why I never bothered to go back to work. Today, after work, I was going to go home, eat pills, and sleep and never wake up. She opened the phone. She showed me a picture of a yellow Shoprite plastic full of pills. This is what I was going to eat and sleep forever. And you just saved my life. You just showed me a different perspective of life. You know, you just opened a new chapter, you know, in my life. Now I know what I have to do. I know where I have to go. So thank you so much. And from then, I decided, Uti, I'm not singing anymore. I just took my stuff, I went home. You know, I was done for the day. You know, and that thing bothered me for a very long time. I think I stayed with that thing for like few months before I told my big brother, Uti, I had this encounter, you know. And my manager, I just told him now, you know, not so long ago, you know. So I'm just trying to paint a picture to you that those are powers that like embody me when I start singing and hitting this drum. You know, me hitting this drum and singing the way I sing, it's not a mistake, it's not a choice. You know, I always say that I don't like to call my journey a career. For me, it's not a career, it's a responsibility that was given to me, you know, by the nature and God through my ancestors, you know. So I've always been a spiritual kid. That's how I was able to see all those things, the problem, you know, those things were driving me away.
Yeah. Okay. So that's definitely something I picked up on when you were playing the drum. After playing for a while, you went to a place, then you came back, and the words kind of made out themselves. And you bask in Joburg now for how long before you get your break?
I was homeless for a year and 5 or 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. 1 year, couple of months. And after that, I met my brother. He offered me a place to stay, but I still continued to bask. You know, then 2021, I met my manager here at Randburg Square. I was basking there. And he took a video of me. He tweeted the video. He tagged DJ Maphorisa. And the next thing, I'm viral on Twitter. I'm trending, you know, for weeks. And I feel like that was my break. You know, I went to DJ Maphorisa. We did Idlozi Lami, you know. Actually, Idlozi Lami is an original song from my original album. And he just decided to make a beat, a piano beat, and took those vocals and put them there on the piano beat. It wasn't recorded as a piano song, you know. And the reason why he did that is because I was honest with him and straightforward that I don't want to do my piano. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to continue to do. You know, and he listened to me. We did an album. He built, you know, around what I have to offer already. You know, and we did a beautiful project, but it couldn't come out. You know, small issues. And next thing, I did an EP. Yeah, I did an EP and did a song with Black Coffee. Did a song with a couple of producers. Yeah.
For many people, when you search Idlozi Lami on Apple Music, there's about 2 options that come through.
Yeah.
So people may not know the voice behind the most popular version of Idlozi Lami. Can you give them a verse? The opening verse
From
Idlozi Lami.
Vulani indlela Khangisani indlela Vulani indlela Khanyisani indlela kumnyama.
Hawu Nkosi yami.
Yeah.
I think that that's an absolutely beautiful project and an absolutely beautiful piece of work that I think was almost at the forefront of pioneering the new wave of piano that we're seeing.
Yeah.
That very spiritual, very deep-rooted kind of ancestral sound. Even Gabza's doing that sound now with his latest album. But you mentioned that you worked with some very infamous people, Black Coffee and a whole lot of other producers. What did you work on them with? Are those projects we can access right now, or is it things that we are still to expect?
Well, I wouldn't be sure about that, but I'll just say stuff that you can expect to come out is stuff that is gonna come from me, and stuff that is already out from different producers. The ones that I worked with, and those projects are not out. They've got their own reasons, of which I don't know. It's their own songs. I can't pressure them with release the song. I'm not dependent on going viral. I have my own lane, and I'm not rushing anywhere. Sometimes it as a creative, it gets hard, when the money's not coming in, and you feel like even doing a Mapiano song that is going to blow up now might be the solution, because those hard times, they do come, when the reality start kicking in. So I have my own lane, and I'm not rushing anywhere, and I'm enjoying the process with its own hardships and challenges. Where I am, what I'm playing is who I am, and that's where I feel at peace and I feel comfortable and whole. So I can tell you, I'm done doing my piano. All the my piano songs I've done, they are enough. I'm not a piano artist. I'm never gonna do a my piano song ever again. And the last song, my piano Pumile, it was with Bulo. Yeah, Bulo and Repsi. Respi, is it Respi or Repsi? Something like that. Respi, yeah. So going forward, I'm working on my project. So the stuff that you can expect is stuff coming from me, and the stuff that is out already, and the stuff that is like producers that say, we are serious, we are releasing this. Okay, release it. But the ones that I worked with and they're not releasing those projects, I can't pressure them and say release. Whenever, even if they want to release 10 years to come, it's fine with me. It's not my song, it's their song. Even if they want to release it 10 years to come, I'll still benefit. I'm not rushing money.
Makes sense. So it's been a beautiful interview. It's been highly insightful, and I think the chefs sitting at home are definitely getting the correct ingredients for the right recipe for success. Before we close off, nominate one person who you think should come and give us their recipe for success. It doesn't matter which space they're in, but one person that you would say, come through and give us something.
I would say my favorite couple currently, the way they are succeeding, the way they're working hard, the way they do everything is just beautiful and inspiring. Murder and DJ Zintle. We saw Murder's transition. Everybody thought, he's not gonna make it, man. People loved, the other guys together. But after that, he never dropped the ball. And he always held his wife's hand. they're doing it together. It's so beautiful.
100%.
It's so beautiful. And ever since that transition, they've been dropping hits after hits. Hits after hits. Asante 2, DJ Zendler's project with the CC. It's just beauty, bro.
For sure. I think we'll definitely...
it's just beauty.
Yeah, we'll put it out to the chefs out there.
Yeah.
Those that know the favorite couple right now, Murder, DJ Zendler, please let them know that we want them to come give us their recipe for success with me, the host of the most, Katlego Mogosi.
And I would love to know the recipe too.
Phila, thank you so much for availing yourself. We've enjoyed this interview. It's been absolutely insightful. All the best with your upcoming projects.
Thank you
all
so
the
much,
best with everything you're working on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for coming through.
And thanks for the food.
Of course.
Yeah, this is nice, man.